Okay, guys, I want to do a quick documentation video to give you guys an insight. I got Corey and Zach with me, and Bowie the dog. Oh. Okay, guys, I got Zach. I got Corey, Zach, and the Bowie dog with us, and I want to give you guys a quick insight. I want you guys to understand my point of view, our point of view. I want you to understand the way things happen, so you can understand and choose to believe the testimony that you're going to hear today, or you can reject it, whatever you want to do. But I want to give you like more evidence in order to make your decision to whether or not what you're about to see is something you're going to be able to wrap your head around. Okay, so previously the Lord has communicated to me to do certain things, and when he communicates to me, it requires a pretty big step of faith to do some of the stuff he asked me to do. One such event was when the Lord communicated to me that he wanted me to go to Chinati, Texas, which is West Texas, the border of West Texas and Mexico. It's in Big Bend. And the Lord told me, I want you to take your parachute and your wind blades, and I have basically an entire landing zone that I have in a couple trunks, that if I want to go somewhere and I want to set up a landing zone anywhere I want to go, as long as I can get a flight to altitude, I can set up my LZ wherever I want to. I'm a master skydiver, so I can pretty much do what I want within federal regulations, federal aviation regulations. So imagine you're me. Just imagine you're me, and the Lord has communicated to you, I want you to go to Chinati. I want you to take your parachute. I want you to take your LZ, your wind blades, everything. And for me to do that, I mean, Chinati's 8 hours away from here in the desert. It's in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so once the Lord had communicated that to me, I needed to know for sure that, I was hearing correctly, and that, I'll step out on faith, but I need a confirmation. Lord, can you help me, just believe that? So I have a folder, and I kept this entire folder of the confirmations that the Lord used in order to get me to Chinati. So at one point, I had gotten enough confirmations that I knew I had to go to Chinati. I was like, wow, he's confirmed it over and over again. So there comes a point where he confirms it to where I am required just to say, okay, you've confirmed it. I'm going to do what you say. I'm going to step out on faith. And I have to take that step of faith, kind of like Abraham leaving his home and going out in search of a country that he believed God was there. So I'm required to at least take this step of faith. So there always comes a point also where I know absolutely for sure, 100%, I gotta go. I gotta do it now because the Lord has confirmed it. What I'm gonna do right now is share with you how he got me to go to Chinati. 100% confirmed it. I was in my vehicle and I was by my house, and an old lady started honking her horn at me, and I rolled down my window and I said, yes ma'am, what can I do for you? And she said, can you tell me where Fort Sam Houston is? And she was 10 miles away from Fort Sam Houston. She was very old. And I looked at her and I said, you know what, ma'am, I have emergency lights on my vehicle. Why don't you just get behind my car? I'll turn my lights on. I'll drive real slow. You follow me over there, and I'll drive you right to the front gate of Fort Sam Houston. So that's what I did. I drove her all the way over there. I got her over there. I showed her, there it is, and waved off, and she goes into Fort Sam Houston, and then I turn around and start going back to my house. And at that point, I continued my prayer that I had been praying at the point where the old lady had started honking her horn at me. So as the old lady peels off and I peel off and I start driving back towards my house, I'm praying, and I said, hey Lord, okay, I just want to make sure you want me to take my wind blades, my wind blades, my whole LZ, my parachute, everything to the desert, to Chinati. And as soon as I said that, I rounded the corner, and you're going to see that here on this next little moment. I rounded the corner onto what's called Austin Highway, and as soon as I rounded the corner, Right after I said, you want me to take my wind blades, there were these 2 purple wind blades sticking up out of the ground. And the Lord said, Jonathan, go in the place with the wind blades. Go in that building. So when I hear the Lord tell me, I want you to go in that building that's got the wind blades, and I had just said, you want me to take my wind blades? And all of a sudden there's 2 wind blades sticking out of the asphalt. And the Lord goes, go in that building with the wind blades. It's like, what? You want me to go? I was like, you want me to go in that building with the wind blades? That one? Go in that building now. And I was like, okay. So I pull over, and it's an art gallery. I've never been in it. I've never been in that building that I can ever recall in 30 years of being in San Antonio. And it's changed ownership several times, but now it's an art gallery. And I'm like, okay. So I pull over, and I walk up to the front door, and I poke my head in the front door, and it was a little bit awkward because, I was a little unsure of myself because, the Lord's telling me just go in this building. So I open the door, I kind of look in, I walk in a little bit. This guy is right there to greet me. He says, hey, how you doing? My name's so-and-so. And yeah, he goes, I specialize in artists that do West Texas landscapes like Big Bend. And I just went, my jaw just, I was like, what? That's the first information the guy offered me. His name, and that I specialize in artists that do landscapes of West Texas like Big Bend. Well, guess what? That's where Chinati is in Big Bend. And I'm asking the Lord right then, you really want me to go to Chinati, Big Bend, and take my wind blades? And he says, go in that building with the wind blades right there. And I walk in, and the very first thing the guy says is, I specialize in artists that do landscapes of Big Bend. I'm driving over there right now just to show you, because I want you guys to understand this is the way the Lord communicates. Corey and Zach, you guys have seen on the fly this kind of communication.
Absolutely, witnessed it. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. Both you guys. Okay, this is the way it works. So the Lord tells me to go in. I go in. I told you what the guy said. I look at the wall. It's all landscape. All the paintings are like landscapes, and they're West Texas. And the main painting in the whole place is a painting of a shepherd leading sheep through the desert, which is analogous to who I am and what I do. I'm a shepherd leading all these people through the desert, this land of desolation, trying to get you somewhere, get you out of here to a place of safety. And I look at the wall, and the #1 painting on display is that shepherd leading sheep through Chinati, Big Bend. And I look over, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Talk about God answering your prayer. Think about that. You talk about the Lord directly communicating to you, setting you up to where some old lady asks you how to get to Fort Sam, driving you over there, walking you into an art gallery. That's just beyond impossible. And then the first painting I look at is a giant painting of a shepherd leading sheep through the desert in West Texas, which, like I said, is analogous to me leading y'all through this land of desolation, trying to get you out of here. Now listen, the Lord told me to go look at the name of the artist, and the title of the painting was Searching for Greener Pastures. So I look at the title, and I'm like, oh my God. And the name of the artist, the Lord told me, look at the name of the artist. It was Melvin Warren. Okay, well, the Lord told me to document it. And so I had to ask the owner of the art gallery. I was like, hey, would you mind if I took a couple pictures? Because a lot of times they don't want you photographing their stuff. And he goes, no, that's fine. Go ahead. So I photographed the painting. And I kept a record of it. I did a testimony of it a long time ago before I went to Chinati. Chinati is the place where the Lord gave me the rock that was in the middle of the dried out riverbed, one of 100 trillion rocks. It was split in half, and that's where the Lord told me to pick up those 2 rocks and put them together, showing that I would be the guy that would show this generation what it means to be on the rock. You take the 2 halves, you invert one, you put them together, and then you're on the rock. Then my building in Chinati was made out of stones, And the whole building had been split in half, and the owner or the caretaker of the place, Danny, told me, yeah, your building was picked up off the ground. They put these brackets on it. They cinched the whole building back together because it was split in half on both sides, and they put it back together and they set it down on a rock foundation. I was like, and then when I went to go skydive to do the jump in Chinati, it turns out that a flood came through while I was going to get my airplane, and it washed over my LZ, and half of my LZ was perfectly clean with a clear running stream, and the other half was perfectly dirty, representing the two races. One race that's filthy, one race that's clean, good and evil melding together. But on one side was a clear running stream, like that one side was perpetually clean, just like it says in Revelation. So anyway, it was beyond impossible. Here I'm pulling up to that art gallery right now. Look at the purple wind blades. I'm gonna pull up right to them. You see these purple wind blades? This is where I pulled out. I was rounding the corner over here to the right when I said, you really want me to take my wind blades? And I see these purple wind blades. And this is where the Lord told me, go in the place with the wind blades. And so I'm like, go in here? And so I pull up right here, and I'm like, this is where you want me to go in? And I pull up right here, and this is where the Lord tells me, I want you to go in there. And this is while I'm asking about going to Chinati with the wind blades. So I'm gonna show you the walls right there. It's obviously, it's kind of hard to see. You can tell they're all landscapes. They're all landscapes of West Texas, and right there on that wall right there is where the painting I'm talking about was. It was the main painting on display, and it was right there. So anyway, so this is the way the Lord communicated to me. Take your wind blades and go to the desert in West Texas. Okay, so now I've given you a testimony of the way the Lord communicated to me. Take your wind blades, like, you really want me to take my wind blades? He makes sure I pull up to a place that has wind blades. He tells me to go in the building that's got the wind blades. There's the building. I walk in this door. When I walk in the door, the guy goes, hey, I'm so-and-so. I specialize in artists that do West Texas landscapes like Big Bend, Chinati. And then the number one painting on display, the number one painting on that wall that was fully displayed was Searching for Greener Pastures by Melvin Warren. Melvin means chief and Warren means watchman. That's when I knew that I had to go to Chinati. Do you understand? There was no way not to go to Chinati now. The Lord had communicated it to me, so I had to do what he said. So here's the point. Once he communicates in this kind of a way, there's no doubt that he's spoken to you. I mean, how could I have any doubt that he's spoken to me? I mean, he walked me in a place that's got wind blades, and the number one painting is a shepherd leading sheep through the desert in Chinati. It's like, okay. So it's like, I get it. All right, now I'm telling you right now, what you're about to see in this video is the same thing, just a different venue. The Lord has communicated to me clearly, the same as he did here. Jonathan, the nukes are coming. The nukes are coming. New York's going to be destroyed, and the pit is going to open. It's about to happen. I'm doing this little video this morning so you guys can see this first before you watch what I want to show you about the nukes coming. So this is a testimony of how he got me to go to Chinati. All right, guys. Okay, so now just to recap. Can you imagine if you were me, the Lord told you, I want you to go to Chinati, Texas. I want you to take your parachute and your wind blades. I want you to take your whole LZ and go to the desert. Trust me. Just go to the desert with your parachute. Trust me, in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, okay, well, can you help me just know that I've heard you correctly? And that's the way that he let me know that I had heard him correctly. Okay, I'm telling you, the Lord has communicated to me that nukes are coming to destroy this country as well as probably other countries. But New York is on the chopping block right now. New York. And that the images of New York being destroyed are printed on U.S. currency notes, the $10 bill and the $100 bill. And I'll show those to you right now. I'll show you a little video clip from a video I did a long time ago when the Lord communicated to me. When the Lord communicated to me through a prophetic utterance. And the words in the prophetic utterance that the Lord gave me, the words matched the images that were on the U.S. currency before the $100 bill note even came out. The words that came out of my mouth, out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind, water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea. So those words came out of my mouth as a prophetic utterance. And then those words match the images printed on the $100 bill and the $10 bill. You got to be kidding. I mean, that's just not even freaking possible in any way, shape, or form. Not even close to possible. But it happened. Now I'm telling you that event is about to happen.